welcome back to an episode of The 3 Count. I'm the greatest second place champion and the face of the 3 Count Mafia, War Machine MJ, and I'm here today to talk about NXT and NXT UK. Of course, I'm going to talk about that shocking finale to NXT. So let's go ahead and go into less interest. I mean, the secondary brand to NXT. So we go ahead and kick off with NXT's UK cousin. We started the show off with Imperium standing in the ring, and of course the Ring General, the champion of NXT UK, had to address his people. Basically, they claim that NXT UK is their kingdom and they're going to rule it rightfully so. Of course, they had some feedback from, or rather some criticisms from Gallus, the current NXT UK Tag Team Champions, and of course, big old Joe Coffey. What this whole promo boiled down to is basically Joe Coffey insults how they dress, calls Walter Jolly Wally, and says, no. NXT UK is our kingdom. And that's it. So yeah, there's your Cliff Notes. Next was Grizzled Young Vets taking on the winless Ashton Smith and Oliver Carter. Of course, you know how this song and dance goes. You know how this goes, as Ashton Smith was on the business end of the Ticket to Mayhem. The Grizzled Young Vets picked up the victory. Afterwards, they were going to pick at the bones of Carter and Smith when Mark Andrews and Flash Morgan Webster came out there to meet them for whatever reason. I don't know. Why aren't they going after the Tag Team Champions? Speaking of Tag Team Champions, of course, the Grizzled Young Vets were approached post-match by the NXT Tag Team Champions, the Gallus, who are basically, a lot of jaw-jacking between those two. Grizzled Young Vets basically said, take your pictures with your family while you still can, because we're taking those titles back. Of course, Gallus said, yeah, sure. We got eyes and ears everywhere, pal. Anyway, next we had a one-on-one match as Ligero took on Travis Banks in a match that's basically summed up in two moves: roll-ups and chops. Afterwards, it ended in a double pinfall. No winner. Hooray. And finally, we got to our main event. After weeks of prodding, Noam Dar got a rematch against Trent Seven, where Trent Seven was just aiming to kick the holy ish out of Noam Dar. Just beat him down for all the terrible, nasty things he's said about British strong style, and for just basically desecrating the forefathers that helped build the brand. Towards the finish, however, Noam Dar had managed to kick out of the 7-star lariat, so naturally Trent Seven had to go not just one step further, but 3 of them, as he belted out Tyler Bates' Bop and Bang, and then he busted out Pete Dunne's Make-A-Wish right into Trent Seven's own Burning Hammer. So the spirit of British strong style helped Trent Seven get the victory. A much needed victory for the Artful Dodger of the NXT UK roster. And finally, we move on to the solid black and yellow brand, NXT. Kicked off the show with Yeah, we went right into action, didn't we? We kicked off the show with Rhea Ripley, the Nightmare, taking on Bianca Belair, the EST of NXT, and this was a fantastic match. Both these women are amazing. Of course, Rhea Ripley is just imposing her will upon Bianca Belair, who was the smaller competitor. However, Bianca Belair was not out of the race due to her size. She was still in the race because she was more athletic and dynamic than Rhea Ripley was. Down the stretch, while the referee was tending to Bianca Belair, Rhea Ripley got hit with a 619 by the bad baby girl in black, of course, Io Shirai, and this was a nice 619 because she swung between the bottom rope and the apron. She found that daylight and caught Rhea Ripley right in the face. Of course, Rhea Ripley managed to get back into the ring, and Bianca Belair went for the pin. Rhea Ripley kicked out, and while Io Shirai was frantically yelling on the ring steps, Candice LeRae comes out, pulls her off the ring steps, and they get to scrapping as Rhea Ripley puts away the EST with the Rip Tide. Next, there was an announcement by William Regal saying the winner of the women's tag team match later on the night will get a future shot at the WWE Tag Team Champions, of course, the Kabuki Warriors. Next, we had Matt Riddle taking on Cameron Grimes, and for whatever reason, Tyler Bate was at ringside, despite being an active member of the company. Oh well. Before the match began, Riddle paid his respects to, of course, the big strong bully of British Strong Style. Once the bell rang, however, Cameron Grimes tried to put it away, but Matt Riddle wasn't having none of it, and these two had a long, drawn-out, brutal affair. There was even salt in one of Matt Riddle's recent victims. Well, salt thrown at, as the crowd started chanting, "Riddle, Riddle," similar to Goldberg, and of course Matt Riddle obliged with a jackhammer. So yeah, it's fantastic. In the end, however, Matt Riddle got the victory with got the win with the Bro Derek, which I forget which move that is. All I know is that's a very dated reference. Towards the finish, however, when Matt Riddle tried to show a little bromanship, fist bump, Cameron Grimes wasn't having none of it, so Matt Riddle's just like, whatever. Fist bumps Tyler Bate, and again, Tyler's just kind of yelling, just kind of asking him, it's like, why don't you fist bump him, bro? Come on, man. Be a bro, of course. Cameron Grimes shoves him, turned back to the ring to grab his hat, and then Tyler Bate bowled out the bop and bang combo, waylaying the country boy. So it looks like we're not done with those two just yet. Speaking of Tyler Bate, he was part of an interview earlier where Kath Kelly asked Trent Seven, his thoughts on his match against Damian Priest last week. He said, he did what he had to do and he got the win. I respect him for that. I'm going to pay him back in kind. Then she tried to ask about Killian Dane, and the Bruiserweight simply responded with, I don't care about him. He's old news. Next, we had six-man tag team action as the Forgotten Sons took on Breezango, who were channeling their inner Top Gun, which, fun fact, that's actually a movie I enjoy. Just, I don't enjoy the beach volleyball scene. Not a fan. Anyway, They were a couple of flyboys, of course, accompanied by somebody who is also disgustingly athletic. I covered it in the most recent episode of Elite Count. But Isaiah Swerve Scott, who was in this match, also makes the disgustingly athletic roster. Not a very interesting match. Just Forgotten Sons kind of doing their thing. If there's any bright spot to the Forgotten Sons, it's Jackson Riker. He knows his role and he plays it to perfection. He's supposed to be a Terminator like character, not a actual Terminator, not a T-1000. Anywho, Isaiah Swerve and of course his flyboy companions got the victory over the Forgotten Sons. Yeah. Next we had Cruiserweight Championship affairs as Angel Garza took on Gentleman Jack Gallagher with, of course, the new NXT Cruiserweight Champion Leo Rush at commentary, who was basically on his best behavior, or it seemed like it, because, you know, he's had those recent troubles where, you know, he got sent home because he was acting a fool. All this stuff. Garza and Gallagher, however, put on a fantastic match. Angel Garza is just a shining spot in the 205 Live division. He's fantastic. Jack Gallagher, nothing more needs to be said about him. However, Angel Garza got the victory. And of course, he was eyeing up the Cruiserweight Champion, the man of the hour, the 24-year-old piece of gold. I don't know if he's had his birthday yet or not, but still. Next, we had that aforementioned women's tag team match as Team Kick, Dakota Kai and Tegan Nox took on Marina Shafir and Jessamine Duke in a blink and you miss it match, because I literally was in my bathroom. I was half watching that match, half pouring Drano down my sink, and when I looked up, bang! Tegan Nox hit the shiniest wizard on Marina Shafir, punched Team Kick's ticket to a future tag title opportunity. Speaking of the champions, they popped up on the Titantron, basically saying that Team Kick's got no chance of dethroning the Kabuki Warriors. That's going to be a fantastic match. Speaking of fantastic match, we had triple threat for the NXT North American Championship as Roderick Strong of the Undisputed Era took on Keith Lee and Dominic Dijakovic. Right from the introductions, this was a story of a small man in a big man's game, told from the perspective of Roderick Strong. Because while they were introducing champions and challengers, you know, Keith Lee and Dijakovic were sizing each other up. When it got to Roderick Strong's introduction, you know, he kind of just put his hands up holding the belt, and you just see him go, oh, no. Slowly start raising his arms down and go, uh-oh. It was a nice sight. Yeah, as all Keith Lee and Dijakovic wanted to do was just beat the hell out of each other. Yeah, Roderick Strong kept butting his nose in, and he kept getting answered in kind. Down the stretch, of course, we got to see Keith Lee and Dijakovic put on their PWG inspired matches. There was a nice sequence towards the end when the two behemoths were battling on the outside of the ring. Roderick Strong tried to inject himself, got caught. They both caught a piece of him. Keith Lee let go, let Dijakovic have it. He hit him with Feast Your Eyes, which is, the inverted GTS. And while Roderick Strong was landed on his feet, he was immediately checked into the second row of the ramp with Keith Lee's pounce. Then the two behemoths locked eyes, said, in the ring. They go, okay, roll in the ring, start beating the crap out of each other in a stiff, brutal, hard-hitting affair between the two titans. The finish came, however, when Keith Lee hit a super spirit bomb from the top rope, and immediately, right as he hits canvas, boom, Roderick Strong takes him out with a knee, steals the victory clean as a whistle. He is still your North American champion, as the Undisputed Era made their way to the ring to celebrate with their mate. They then started attacking Keith Lee when Ciampa's music hits, and he takes his time going down to the ring, of course, the psycho killer that he is. And when he sized up the Undisputed Era, being horribly outnumbered, out came his old DIY running buddy, Johnny Gargano. Who they just kind of exchanged some pleasantries, basically said, hey, want to team up to help me take these guys out? Thought you'd never ask. So it's 4-on-2, and then the familiar power chords of one Finn Balor hit. He made his way to the ring looking cool, confident, and awesome as ever. Just absolutely cool. Didn't waste, well, he wasted time getting to the ring, but it's not like the party had started without him. So it was the three of them taking on the four of Undisputed Era. While Finn Balor was slowly taking off his leather jacket, Ryzek got down to his halfway down his arms. He laid out Johnny Gargano with a flush, very flush, Pele kick. Knocked him down. And then the Undisputed Era turned their attention to Ciampa, beating the hell out of him, while Finn Balor just kind of stood back in the corner, watching the mayhem unfold. There was a brief bit of worry on the face of one Adam Cole, baby, as he was worried that Finn Balor would go after him. Finn didn't do anything. So they beat up Ciampa. Johnny Boy gets taken out. He rolls to the outside. Finn slowly rolls to the outside after him, aims down his sight, and of course he knocks him into a bunch of plants. But he hits Johnny, who's posted up by the barricade, with a shotgun drop kick, barreling him through the crowd and again into some plants. Afterwards, as the Undisputed Era looked on, he hit Johnny Boy with a very nasty 1916, aka Bloody Sunday, right on the ramp. Didn't tug his head, just ate straight steel. Of course, while Undisputed Era was rocking out with this, Finn Balor was looking down at Johnny Boy, and in true Devitt fashion, just pointing his fingers, just pointing his finger guns at Johnny Boy. And speaking of Finn Balor, he popped up on the FS1 exclusive show backstage. I haven't seen all of it yet, but the bullet point is this: the Prince is back. His words, not mine. So we're going to see a Prince Devitt inspired Finn Balor in NXT. And for those of you who don't pay attention to wrestling history, Prince Devitt is the founder of the Bullet Club. We're finally going to get the Finn Balor, or we're finally going to get the Devitt we've always needed. Except for they're going to tone him down a bit, because yeah, his promos in New Japan, while they were charismatic and just a tour de force, he did swear a lot. I mean, I thought I was bad, but yeah, every other word out of his mouth was the F word. And I'm trying to censor myself because I want those YouTube monies. But yeah, WWE's not going to have him drop the F-bomb. So, yeah. Just another dynamic episode of NXT this week. That Finn Balor turn was a huge shocker, and I wish Rod hadn't spoiled it for me. Oh well. But that triple threat was definitely worth it. I'd recommend going back and watching that. That was oof. That was definitely match of the night. Whatever AEW had, NXT blew it out of the water. Anyway, that being said, let me know what you guys think in the comments. As for our plug time, if you miss Rod's opinions but hate his stupid spoiling face, he has a podcast, Prime Talk with Rodimus Prime, on the Castbox app. He talks a lot of football, he talks a lot of basketball, he talks a little bit of wrestling. Go check him out. Tell him War Machine sent him in, that he's an asshole. He's a spoiling asshole. Anyway, that being said, I'm the face of the 3-Count Mafia, and of course the greatest second place champion, United States of War Machine MJ. And I will see you guys next time.